What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Schools podcast. I'm your host, Jason Gaddis, here with my beautiful wife, Ellen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Psyched you're here. We wanted to record a podcast to help the couples on lockdown here.
Yes.
Because tight quarters.
Yep.
Oh my God.
No space.
No space for a lot of people. I think I just told you about, or you told me about the divorce rate in China is like skyrocketing.
I don't know about skyrocketing, but it's going up.
The headline is what I read. It said skyrocketing.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah,
it
makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And I also just heard, sadly, that cases of child abuse and domestic violence are also going up.
Oh.
So, guys,
really
we're really trapped here in tight quarters, and depending on how you live and where you live, it can really be extremely intense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm grateful because we live in a pretty spacious town.
Yeah.
Where we can walk to nature.
Yeah.
We also have a house where we can take space, and it feels like I don't have to have you be in the same room when I'm taking space.
Right.
Totally,
all those little things. And we're not already in a contentious situation that's difficult to navigate, because if you started lockdown in that situation, then this is even worse. So
oh my gosh,
it's
totally.
we're thinking of all the people that are just having a much more difficult time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've recorded a couple podcasts. Hopefully you listened to one with Philip McKernan. You listened to mine on fear and maybe the other one. And again, I'm trying to help you, the listeners, see the upsides, certainly, because you're already focused on the downsides of this whole thing, and there's a lot of them. And can we use this, I just want to kind of frame the conversation, as like, can we use this crisis as an opportunity to reignite, reevaluate, remodel our relationship? Because this crisis is going to expose your strengths and weaknesses. It's going to be very clear where the two of you are a team and where you're not. And we just wanted to, just offer a few things that may help you.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay. Ellen and I were talking on a walk with our kids, yesterday? Yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. No.
The day before. No one knows what day it is.
Oh my God.
It's really hard to know what's going on.
Yeah. Anyway, we were talking recently, and we were just talking about how can we help couples, and one of the things we stumbled upon was, well, it seems like because this is going to expose where you're struggling, a lot of couples are going to get stuck in that struggle.
Yeah.
And whether it's like about space or you did this and you did that, and there just can be a lot of blame, and no one's taking responsibility, and you start to not feel safe. Right. So one of our ideas for you is to kind of pause and zoom out for a minute. And when you zoom out, it's just looking, I want you to look at how are we doing as a team? Are we a team? Are we not a team? Because if we just stay stuck fighting about the everyday stuff that's going on, or distancing and we're in silence, our level of teamness is kind of exposed, but we're not talking about it.
Right. And the stress is just building. Like the longer we're all under stress right now, and the longer we go without somehow helping each other with that, the worse it's going to get. Like we can't go do all the usual things we might have done before to help us cope or manage our stress. Like we really just now have each other to help, which is actually an awesome thing. To have another person help you with your stress is huge. We're extremely good at that when we know how to do it. Yeah.
So one of the things that you can do is essentially call a timeout and just call a pause and say, honey, can we please have a conversation about us and how we're doing this whole thing? Frame the conversation, set some context like that. Because you could say, look, because if we keep staying in the weeds here, we're acting like we're not a team trying to solve these problems in an adverse situation where we're adversaries. We're actually not aligned, and we don't have an alliance, and we're not collaborating about the problem at hand. I mean, one of the coolest things about this whole crisis, as I said on the podcast earlier, was we're all turning toward the same problem. And that can be uniting, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And yet you might not feel that way at home here. You might feel like, no, we're not uniting at all. Like I feel completely alone. I feel scared. I can't bring up the conversation because every time I do, my partner gets defensive,
Right.
for example.
Right.
You know?
Right. So it seems like your suggestion is bring it up as a invitation to talk about, for both of the people to talk about how are we feeling about how we're doing as far as being a team goes.
Yeah.
And it also seems like if you're the one that's willing to bring it up, you could also be the one to just acknowledge like where you feel like you're dropping the ball, or where you feel like you're trying to help, but it's not landing. Like you could maybe speak about, I feel like I'm struggling with how to help you and help us with this. Like, I think I know what I need, but I have no idea how you're handling this, or what you need from me here. Something to, I guess, to avoid your partner feeling blamed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. Blamed for how bad things feel.
Yeah. So I think what Ellen's saying, in my words, is leading with some vulnerability and some personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want to have this conversation with you, and I notice that I'm very defensive. I'm incredibly sensitive right now. I'm noticing myself overreact.
Right.
I've
been short with you.
Yep.
I've been avoiding you.
I've been on my phone most of the day and not actually turning toward you.
I'm really preoccupied with just trying to get information every day, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It can help you both start to have a more mature conversation about what's actually happening here. No one's wrong for how they're handling this. It's really unprecedented, and really we just want to focus on how can we do this in a way that feels better to us, whatever that would be. It's going to be different for each couple.
Yeah. How can we, Ellen, what would you say to, because you're working with couples week to week here, and I'm curious, like, what are you noticing about some of the couples you're seeing right now? And like, what are some of their struggles? And then can you give us a couple of things that could be helpful?
I think so. I mean, it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different family situation and different work-life situation. So everybody has their own flavor of what hasn't been too hard and what has been hard, what's been good about it, what has been just really disorienting and scary about it. So everyone has a different take, but I think all the couples are working on how do we support each other better? How do we keep communication lines open? I think because everyone's a little more stressed, everybody's just a little more reactive to each other.
Yeah.
And so going into, like, for some of my couples, they'd say, yeah, we're doing some old patterns that we thought we'd like sort of gotten through, and we're kind of done with. Like, it's kind of resurfaced.
Yeah.
And I think we saw some of that too, just like feeling irritable. I know I was feeling irritable and just really tired, and I don't know, just disoriented sort of for at least initially. And so I think most people are just trying to get, like you said, just like get oriented. How are we going to do this? And how do we stay in good communication with each other? And so much of that is about being, I think, starting with empathy, just responding, trying to be empathic towards each other. And both people generating a little more empathy and care goes a long way. It just sort of is like something that can feed on itself, you know?
Yeah.
And then because there are so many logistics to figure out.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And future logistics to figure out around work and finances and kids and everything. And so it seems like people are just kind of trying to get back to that sense of feeling connected emotionally, and then sort of, okay, now that we're more connected and I feel more cared about and I feel more loving towards you, now we can turn towards this crisis and help each other navigate it and start to think through, like, what's our next step, or what do we need to figure out right now?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge the gravity of some of your situations in terms of, some of you, and it makes the complication, makes things more complicated with your partner, right? So if, you work full time and you lost your job, and now your kids are also home, right? There's financial stress and pressure, and then there's the pressure of now I've got to homeschool my kids,
Right.
and I don't know what I'm doing there. And, do I just kind of shove them in front of a screen all day so that I can kind of like look for a job? I mean, there's these never before
Yeah.
challenges that you're dealing with. And all of us have our unique journey there. But if you're not aligned with your partner and you're not trying to soften toward them, because they're also having their own reaction to this that's
Right.
unique to them, and it's bringing up stuff from their history perhaps,
Right.
and they're scared maybe, but they don't look like it. Maybe they're acting pretty strong and stoic, but below the surface they're like a time bomb. I mean, we've got to really like consider each other right now more
Yeah.
than ever.
I
What
think so.
are
Like,
you really going through?
yeah, it's
over
sort of
there?
like track each other even more.
Yeah.
But not in like a hyper vigilant. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you I'm tracking you way, but in like I'm
Yeah.
interested. I care. I'm sure there's a lot going on
Yeah.
in there. I want to know. I want to share with you what's going on in here, and using whatever time you have without your kids, or where you're not trying to figure out how to do your career right now, to try to just connect around how you each are feeling, like starting with that more than sharing information about whatever the latest news is. Although
Yeah.
I know that we want to know what's going on in the world, we also need to really know what's going on in like your world in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's kind of like three things to consider here. There's yourself, there's the relationship, and then there's your partner.
Yeah.
And that's a lot to deal with. And I often, you guys have heard me say intimacy is separateness and connection, kind of like this Bruce Tift quote that I often share, which basically means like we need to take good care of ourselves. And that means I need to actually have time away from Ellen, and she needs time away from me to do things for herself so that she can come back to the relationship more resourced, and so can I. And we need to do things together as a team. We need to make time when the kids are like not in our grill 24/7 to do something else for us. Just, hey, me and you. Because our date nights are gone, right?
Yeah, we're like,
We have no date
there's
nights.
no.
We haven't had a date night in like a month. And that was pretty regular for us. So these are all things that you have to
Yeah.
consider, and it can't just like, a lot of us do go into survival mode and we go pro self. We just think about ourselves.
Yeah.
Or maybe we are overly oriented toward other people and we forget about ourselves.
Yes.
But often we do one thing pretty okay, but we need to consider, if you're in a partnership, you got to consider there's other people here. And obviously if you have kids, it's compounded.
Totally. Yeah, it's time to get creative, and that creativity is way easier to generate in connection and with another person. Like, I feel like we've already come up with so many things that together that
Yeah.
I couldn't have thought through by myself.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see. And then,
Yeah.
but somehow talking with you, or you having just a different perspective, we saw other possibilities for just, how are we going to get
Yeah.
time as a couple? And how are we each going to get time to ourselves outside of work and kids right now? And just things that are not by any means straightforward for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and in terms of like your sex life, that's another thing that you have to consider also, is like, where does that go? Because that under stress, that might go out the window. Like there's a sort of joke going around right now that this is going to be the time of the most babies being
Right, there's going to be
made.
like coronavirus babies like 9 months from now, or I don't know what they'll call them.
There'll be another baby
There'll be
boom.
another name.
And that might be true for people who don't have kids currently.
Yeah.
But if you have kids, you're like, what? When are we going to have space to have sex? What are you talking about? So, again, Ellen and I have to be creative about that.
Yeah.
Because our kids are basically with us all the
All
time,
the time now.
And
Yeah.
one of us can get space, but
Yeah.
not both of us.
But
at the
both of
same
us
time.
together, and then we just need that time together too. And our kids are a little older. Like right now, I can see them in the backyard, and they can be outside playing on their own, and we have a little space. But if your kids are under 7 or 5, like that's pretty
It's challenging.
challenging. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just going to be easier to sort that out together
Yeah.
than by yourselves.
Another.
And to prioritize it, I guess, just
Yeah.
even if it's just a little bit here and there to make it a priority.
I think another thing that helps us is some kind of mindfulness, self-reflection that's going on right now. Like, for example, you do yoga. Mm-hmm. You do yoga, you walk, you run, you do something, right? That gives you time to self-reflect or be with your experience.
Yeah, writing.
And then I'm doing the same thing, walking, biking, meditation.
I think writing for both of us too.
Yeah, and writing is huge.
So important.
Again, you want to think about, like, what can I do for myself, and then how can I support my partner doing that thing that resources them, so that we can be even more connected right now.
Yeah, like all the options got really squished, and there's not a lot of room in there, but there's a little bit. It's worth fighting for.
Yeah, and if nothing else, please evaluate your relationship right now. You might be doing it in the quietness and the solitude of your own mind, but see if you can have a conversation about it. If you are in a partnership right now and it's contentious or it's not going well, use that as fuel to then have the conversation, like, hey, it seems like we really struggle. Would you be up for working on this? Would you be up for, like, I think together as a team, we're going to be able to tackle this better. Do you agree?
Yeah.
What can we do to improve this situation called us? I think it's going to go a long way, guys. I really do. Yeah. And then if you're single, just a couple of thoughts for single folks or not partnered people. I think Zoom is immensely important right now. Phone, FaceTime, Zoom, texting, the ways in which you stay in contact with the people closest to you.
Yeah, and I would say even, I've just noticed for myself that doing a Zoom or FaceTime call has a much bigger impact on me than texting. I just don't get the same feeling after, like, I got to connect, like that feeling of feeling freed up or re-energized. All the good things that happen for me when I connect with a friend. I've just had a few of those, I think, over the last 3 weeks, but they've really, really helped me.
Yeah.
And just helped me be more present and feel more connected. So.
Yeah, I had a friend have a birthday party, and we were all going to go up into the mountains. It was like a men's kind of gathering, and this happened, so we couldn't do it. So we all got on Zoom, which was like, you think, oh man, it's not the same, not remotely the same as going up in this mountains in this beautiful place. And but it was surprisingly powerful and very connective for all the men on that call. And there was about 12 of us. And the guy had an amazing birthday. Yeah. So, this is just time where we have to be creative.
Yeah.
And I think the technology is really helping us big time right now.
Yeah. I don't love it in general, but I'm really appreciating it right now. It's really helping me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing. Physical contact, I think, just again, is good for us. If you have that option because you live inside a home with other people, make time for physical contact with your family or a friend or a roommate. Hugs, massage, something, foot rubs. And if you're alone, obviously you're dealing with a different dynamic. But again, at the very least, you want to be connecting with your friends through screens that where you can see their face. We need to see each other's face right now under a time of stress.
It helps.
We really do.
It really helps.
Yeah. Okay. One suggestion for you, the listener, if you have questions about your situation, we'd love to hear from you. So just write in at info@relationshipschool.com and put in the subject line podcast question. And that way our team can get these questions to Ellen and I. And Ellen and I will try to record a Q&A answering some of your questions about your situation, especially right now when we're locked in together, shelter in place, and we can't do a lot. But we'd love to hear, because you might be thinking, but.
So let us know what those are, and we can help be creative with you.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. So that's info@relationshipschool.com, and in the subject line, put podcast question. And we'll be sure to get to it. And also make sure you join our free Facebook community, relationshipschool.com/community. Okay, thanks, Ellen.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for just being you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Relationship School podcast. I am Neva. I am 9 years old.
And I am her brother Lucian, and I am 11.
And I am Jason.
And I'm Ellen.
Good to have you back, folks. We are doing part 2 here of the family shelter-in-place lockdown situation. We're in our home, and we thought it would be fun to just talk to all the families out there that are also staying at home right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to just talk about kind of what we've been doing and, you know, the highs and lows and what we were liking about this, what's kind of working about it, what might be challenging, and, yeah,
How it's going
how
for
it's going.
everybody.
Guys, how long have we been in, like, basically at home?
Almost 3 weeks and like 3 days,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is 24 days. Yeah,
Mhm.
about.
Wow. And you guys haven't been to school in quite a while, right?
Yeah.
How's that going?
Good.
It's going good. It's actually kind of fun to be home. Like, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, this is something we haven't experienced. So,
Yeah.
it's
A little fun, a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels different.
different than our normal life for sure.
That's for sure. So let's talk about kind of what we've been doing, just like how are we, because, you know, some families are stuck in apartments, some families are, you know, stuck with a lot of people. Some families they have one person, that's it. It's just a person, that's their family. They're single and they're home a lot by themselves. So everybody in the world's got a different situation when they shelter in place. And ours, I feel really blessed because we're in Boulder and we can go outside,
Yeah.
you know. So let's just talk about kind of what, maybe we could list some things that we've been doing with our time. What kind of stuff we've been doing, guys?
We've been going on walks a lot. We've
Can you help her out? Just kind of, you
We've
can
been
just make a list, you know.
Building,
what else?
like, we built a birdhouse a bit ago. We saw chickadee go in 2 times, but we haven't seen them like today. So
So we're not sure if the
we're not
actual,
sure if they're nesting. Maybe they're just checking it out.
yeah, but that was pretty cool.
That was definitely really cool.
Yeah.
Like 2 days after we put it up.
hopefully they're nesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, we go on walks. What else? What kind of stuff do we see on our walks, and where we've been going?
Ooh. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
tell about Sawhill Ponds. So we went to this place called Sawhill Ponds. It's near where we are, like 10 minutes away, and they have all these like just ponds and open space. It's really cool. So we're walking, and I don't know, how should I say it?
However you want. Whatever
There,
part of it is cool to you.
There was a guy with like this camera like this long, and Dad asks him if he's seen any owls, because we know there's owls there, and he's like, no, I haven't seen them this year. I mean, they're hard to miss. And he kept walking, and we go about like maybe 20 steps further, and up in this big tree, and I'm like, that's an owl. And there's an owl sitting on the tree branch, like right next to us, almost 30 feet away.
Yeah, a big great horned owl, and it flew off. We got to watch it kind of
Yeah.
get its talons ready on the branch, and then poof, swoop down.
It's so beautiful.
So we were sad because the guy kept walking. We're like, wait.
Yeah, we tried to let him know.
But he was too far
was-
away.
He's around the bend.
It's gone. Yeah. Yeah.
What other kinds of things have we been seeing, either at the ponds or down the street? Just what else?
Well, we've been walking down the street, and there's also a pair of owls nesting down the street from us. So we've been seeing those.
Yeah, it's about a 10-minute walk.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. We feel really grateful because every year, last 3 years, that this mama owl and this daddy nest in this big down, just kind of split cottonwood
Yep.
tree on this hiking, kind of walking trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just happened to show up the very year we moved in. So that was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah,
Yes, we feel invested in them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And you guys kind of, sometimes when Daddy's working, you guys go to the park. What kind of stuff do you guys do at the park?
I'm doing this running thing from school because each year the 5th grade has this thing called the pentathlon, and it's basically this thing of sports, of like throwing the discus, throwing the javelin, like 40-yard sprint, 40-yard dash, long run, and then like the long jump, and then like 3 types of like wrestling. And so our teacher wants us to practice our running, so I'm running like 10 minutes pretty often. We're also you're teaching yoga?
Yeah, we're doing some yoga, which has been sweet to do with you guys.
Yeah.
It's been very informal. You get to really just
A lot of child's
a
poses.
lot of child's poses,
Yeah.
unlimited child's poses. And we've been climbing that tree. You guys have built a fort in that tree, sort of a,
Yeah.
that's coming along. And frisbee, we're into frisbee right now.
Yeah, we've been playing
Aerobic.
frisbee.
We're getting to know all the neighborhood dogs.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
park's never been more
The park
crowded.
has never been so busy. It's still
Yeah.
spacious for us, which is good, but there's lots of people out, lots of our neighbors, which is nice to see so many of our neighbors, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys think people are doing with the physical distancing, social distancing thing? Or do you think people, as you watch people in the parks and on the streets, how do you guys think people are doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good, but then of course there's the every now and person who just like walking straight on, not even caring.
Like with their buddy, you mean, or?
Yeah, with their buddy.
Or not
Or, like,
avoiding
too
us.
Or
close.
not avoiding us.
Like when
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
like that 6-foot distance when we're walking
Yeah.
around people. And most people are
Sometimes
observing
people like
that.
will move like a few feet away, but it's like 3 feet or
Yeah.
4, not at the actual
Yeah.
6 feet.
Yeah. You guys are really taking seriously the social distancing stuff, I would say. That's important to you.
Yeah.
Would you say? And even though you've really only been in our neighborhood, you haven't gone to a store or anything
Yeah.
since this all started, you guys have taken that very seriously.
Yeah. How many play dates
Yeah.
have you guys had?
How many
How
what?
many
Play dates.
Play
About
dates?
maybe like 0.
Well, we did FaceTime some friends, and we've also been writing letters.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been mailing letters to friends, which is super fun, like getting them back. And I
Wow.
just put one in the mail today.
So
Yeah,
fun.
that's so cool. Something kind of a lost art that's kind of fun that kids are
Yeah.
picking
Yes,
back up.
we're reviving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how are you guys feeling just with sort of the strange situation the world is in right now? How's that feeling to you in this moment?
I like being home.
Yeah, that helps you feel better. Feels good.
It doesn't feel like it's affecting me that much. Like, I'm kind of fine with it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not doing much. I'm just like, oh, I guess we have to stay home.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like, I'm not like,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to feel afraid
Yeah.
here. We're doing what we need to do to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's important for context that maybe other kids or families listening know that we also don't watch a lot of news, right? We don't.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't watch any.
A lot of news.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen the news?
No.
Right.
I've seen, well, like, Grandpa Jim would, like, turn on to golf so he could watch golf. Like, there's been news, but no, I didn't know any. I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't have a TV in our house. I haven't owned a TV in over 25 years, I don't think.
Either have I.
Yeah, and Ellen hasn't either. So, it's part of our values is not, our kids are not getting extra stress by just sitting in front of the TV watching these really intense news stories about the virus all over the world. So we're also kind of protecting you a bit from that, and then we give you the updates when we need to.
Yeah,
and
what
you guys
you
ask
need,
questions.
what they need
and-
to know, and
Well,
what's
yeah.
important for
Yeah.
them to understand. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then how are you guys getting along with mom and dad and each other? How are we doing with our fighting or conflicts and stuff like
We're
that?
doing actually really good for, like, being together all the time.
Yeah.
For
So
20
too.
years
Yeah.
now.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you guys are doing extremely well. And I'd say us as a family are doing really well. Yeah. And I'm grateful because I work from home and
Yeah.
I pretty much don't leave the house except when we need the occasional errand.
Right. Right. We've been able to adapt
Uh-huh.
pretty readily to all of this. Our schedules, I can see clients virtually, and you can be with
Yeah.
the kids when I'm not, and it's not been that stressful for our schedules and moving things around, which has, I think, made it easier too.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thanks, guys. As we wrap up, any final thoughts to any of the kids listening or families out there? Anything you want to share? Just
Not in particular.
okay.
No.
Anything you'd recommend for kids to do so that this can be a more enjoyable time for them if they're not enjoying it that much? Anything you think has helped you feel good about being home? And
Well, me and Neva are entertaining ourselves, like counting the signs of spring we find around our yard. We'll do that every now and then. Or like counting the bulbs that are popping up, all the little buds on the trees, and that's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
To be like,
Yeah.
oh look, there's a new sprout on that like bush or something.
Mm-hmm.
totally.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see that right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. And drawing? Do you think drawing or music helps you guys at all?
Yeah, I think
A
so.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we've
Playing.
been.
Yeah, we've been
Playing.
doing a lot
A
of
lot of
playing.
playing on the swings and the trees.
Can we share our idea about the together drawing? Do you think people could benefit from that? I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah,
You guys want to share what you
Okay.
do? And
Well,
start.
So you can do it with however many people you have. If you have like 3, you can use 3 pieces of paper or 1 piece of paper, and you just kind of start something and then pass it to the next person.
Yeah, and the trick is when you do it, you don't want to like sketch a whole thing or do a whole thing. It helps to just do like a tree so that people can put like grass, and then someone can do mountains, and then they can make a whole landscape and animals. And
yeah, we've been doing that for
Yeah.
many years since you guys were little, right? We do these together drawings, and it is fun to rotate. You can like, if there's 3 of us, like I'll do it with the kids sometimes. We have 3 pieces of paper, and we all start at the same time, and then just like 2 minutes later, we just say, okay, switch, and you pass your paper to the next person to the right, and they have to add on. It's kind of like an add-on game.
yeah, and it just keeps going around.
Just keeps going around until it's done. And every now and then we produce some pretty amazing
Yeah.
art, right?
And there's some pretty cool ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for being with us on the podcast today. Thought it'd be fun to have you guys share just a little bit about what we're doing. And I just appreciate you guys I love you and how we do it, how we just chill at home and we're making the most of it.
Yeah.
I think we're doing really well, and we want to help other families do well. So if we can think of other things that would help people, we'll share those.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Relationship School fans and Smart Couple listeners, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, all right? Do us a favor, subscribe, share one of these videos with a friend, all right? We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.